Happy to be here.
All right. With many volunteer opportunities, why did you decide to apply to serve on the Parks Commission, and why now?
That's a great question. I recently moved to Olivet at the end of April. I've got 2 young children, twin girls that are 2.5 years old. At this point in my life, kind of felt a need to be involved. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening in the world, both good and bad. And I want my girls to see me growing up as somebody that's involved and that they can make an impact on their local community and as a bigger picture country. And so for that reason, this is a small step. And the parks, obviously I played sports all growing up and everything like that. And have an interest in being involved and having clean, usable spaces for my kids and other families in this area. And, just kind of going back to just wanting to be involved. I lived in South City prior to moving here in Olivet and frankly wasn't involved. And just, I made a point, I want to be involved in the community and I want to be a good example for my girls and, frankly, other kids in the community as well.
Okay. So in a nutshell, your little constituents are watching it.
Exactly. Yeah. They're making sure that I'm doing what I should be. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
What skills, knowledge, talent do you bring to help the commission fulfill its mission?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that honestly, as I was filling out the application, I was kind of thinking, what exactly does the commission do, and how exactly do I help? So I'll answer the question in a broad sense, and hopefully that'll answer what you're looking for. But I college graduate, studied finance and economics, have a keen liking to numbers, budgets, making sure everything is balanced, both in my personal life and in a professional sense as well. Professionally, I've been in sales and marketing for medical device companies over the last 6 or 7 years. And so from a marketing perspective, certainly feel like I can help encourage community involvement and encourage people to be involved, which is hopefully what I'm trying to do here too. And then from a parks perspective, I'm shooting in the dark here, just to be completely honest with you. I don't know 100% what the job entails and what exactly you're looking for, but I'm a hard worker. I'm somebody that wants to be involved and certainly think that I would be a good fit for whether it's manual labor, whether it's encouraging, whether it's trying to get people excited about programs. I think I can do all of that.
Just to follow on something you said, just to let you know that, that part of what's involved is attending the parks meeting, which is once a month on Wednesday. I forget which Wednesday of the month. Third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously part of the job. But I think the next question or another question will probably address more about what else is involved. So
okay. And I can certainly make that meeting.
Okay. 3 months into the city, and there's someone that wants to be involved.
Can you use the mic? That's okay.
Yeah.
This is for the
I'm
recording.
sorry, you're right, I'm sorry. 3 months into the city, and you want to be involved. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
So I will follow up with Council Member Carl's question and indicate that there are expectations that we have to volunteer at events, to be a part of special events, not just show up for the park commission meeting. And I do believe I heard you already say, encourage people to be involved. You're a hard worker. So would you have any issues with stepping up and physically being active and involved when these park commission and other special events occur, to be a representative of the city and the park board?
No, absolutely not. No, I actually am looking forward to getting a physical calendar. I've been trying to follow what you guys are doing on Facebook and, actually knowing exactly what's going on and being there and having my kids and getting to meet more people in the community. One of the things that I love so much about Olivet so far is my little cul-de-sac over off of Grayley Lane. I know all my neighbors. I lived in the city for 8 years and I could tell you the guy next to me and the other guy on the other side, and that was it. And now there's, 8, 9 people right in our cul-de-sac that I know. And so to answer your question in a shorter way would be, yes, I'm happy to be involved. I want to be there. I want to meet, all the wonderful people that this town has to offer.
Do you travel in your job?
I do. Yeah, I do. I'm probably 1 overnight a week, sometimes 2. With the pandemic, a lot of it went virtually, but in marketing, a lot of times it's meetings with CEOs, CFOs of hospitals. If we can do it virtually, we prefer to do it that way just to keep travel expenses down. But if I have to, I will. I was in Montana for 2 days last week. So travel is definitely a part of my.
So if you're on the road at 7 o'clock in the evening on a third Wednesday of the month, if you were on the road, you could attend the meeting by Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, well, 100% I could do it by Zoom, but I have pretty good control over my schedule. So if I can avoid it, I can block out that Wednesday every month and be home.
I'm just gonna throw a name at you. Do you ever work with Baxter Medical?
Baxter Medical sounds really familiar.
All right, that's all right.
All right, we can elaborate on that maybe
Go
later,
ahead.
but that does sound familiar.
You did identify you've been watching on Facebook, so I know that there's a council member Springer that has some important questions too. It kind of leads off of that.
Of a $16 million community center and park improvement project. How familiar would you say that you are with these planned improvements? Have you attended any of our meetings or reviewed the plans online? And if you have, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, one that I wish I knew more about. I have briefly looked through online, but have not been to a meeting. I've been here 3 months. I've attended Coffee with the Mayor, I think was the one event that I was able to attend in person here. Not to pun on your question, but I don't really have anything extra to add to that.
So may I have a follow-up question more about involvement in the community? So this community does have a lot of opportunities to get involved. And if for some reason you were not chosen to sit on this commission, come November, and this is a shameless plug on my part, but I don't care. We work pretty hard to make this event a great event for the city. It's every year on Thanksgiving morning, we run a 5K turkey trot.
Yep.
And the turkey trot is always looking for people to get involved. It doesn't happen without the help of the residents. And we need volunteers to do everything from make hot chocolate to dispense beer, because you can't have a turkey trot without a beer. So it is a party. You will, if you think your neighbors on Greeley, attend a turkey trot, you'll know people in a lot more places than that by sitting down and having beer with them at the end of a 5K. And you can bring your kids in a stroller and stroll around. And I guess my question to you is, we're always looking for people to volunteer to do things like that. And it's a great way to give back to the community, get to know people. And I'm just curious if that's something that if for some reason, we have one opening on this commission, is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If you've got my contact information, I can grab yours when this is over, and be happy to
Okay,
partake in that.
Great.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Someone that lived on Greeley did not encourage you to make this application, did they?
No, they didn't. Actually, I didn't tell any of my neighbors. My wife actually thought this was, she was pleasantly surprised, but also was like, let's just do your thing and see what happens. No need to go telling everybody about it. Unless somebody has some pull, then I guess I should have told them all.
Well, I do remember you at the mayor's conference. And then you identifying yourself.
That's me. Hopefully following through on it. So yeah, thank you guys for your time. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You kind of justify it up or down.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, I will raise it a little bit. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
lording over this. Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
It has. I'm doing well. And yourself?
Great.
Okay, the mayor's gonna lead us off with some questions. We only
Sounds
have a
great.
few for you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
With so many volunteer opportunities out there, why did you decide to apply to serve on the Parks Commission, and why now?
Great question. I'll do the why now because there's an opening. Not always an opening. And so, that's, just it's available. Definitely wanted to, take opportunity or take advantage of that opportunity. As far as volunteer time, I also volunteer with visually impaired children. So this will be something else that I would do. I love the outdoors. I love all of that. For those that don't know, I also ran for city council. Congratulations, Mayor, on
Thank you.
the election. And this is a great way to also continue to contribute, to this great city.
I don't question your commitment.
Well, thank you.
Just based on the work that you did to run your election.
Well, thank you.
It takes commitment to your community and someone who truly wants to serve. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much.
I'll go to the next question. Okay. So what particular skills and talents, knowledge do you bring that would help the commission fulfill its role?
Sure, a couple of things. So professionally, I am a project manager for software projects with the government industry. So I'm used to working at the pace and the challenges that we have. Also used to work some projects where there is no budget or limited budget, which is something that is always an issue with city government, but especially when you have something like county parks, which parks are important, but there's never enough money to do all the maintenance as we've been seeing in the meetings. So really that background, as well as my volunteer work with Delta Gamma, that's the visually impaired children. My leadership skills from that, organizational skills, financial skills as far as managing the projects, and working with a wide number and variety of people. Different stakeholders that we need to, I like to say professionally, keep everybody equally unhappy. We're never going to make everybody happy, and we don't want to make everybody unhappy. So what's that middle ground that we can try to continue making the best place for everyone?
That's the organization where children have eye deficits, visual deficits.
That's correct. Yes.
You ever worked in dealing with a disability part? While working with the Delta?
Not at a park, but what I have done is gone on several trips or where they would go to Colorado. And I would be one of the adult chaperones at the camps they would have. And I would also do weekend camps. Most of the children have visual impairment, but there's also, autism and some other challenges that the children have. But as far as being an employee, no.
Do you travel with your child?
I used to pre-COVID. Things that we used to always say had to be done on site. For the last year, we have learned, no, we can't actually do those things remotely.
Okay. So, there's an expectation that the park commissioners attend and assist with special events and programs. And that's part of why I was asking you those questions and answering all that. Would you have a time to volunteer at these various events?
Yes, I would. Now, obviously, I don't know the schedule, so I can't say I would make all of them, but I don't know of a reason that I couldn't make the vast majority, if not all of them. But I would have every intent to do that.
Thank you.
So as you know, the city is well underway with the implementation of our $16 million community center and park improvements project. How familiar are you with the planned improvements? Have you attended any of the meetings in which the plans have been discussed, or have you seen them online? And if so, what is your opinion? Because that is the focal point of the Park Commission.
I have reviewed most of the 100 and some odd page documents. I can't say that I know it intimately well. For the master plan that we are implementing, that I believe for both the parks as well as the community center, we're in the planning stage or getting ready for the development. As far as, fully support them. As I've said for a while, Olivet's a great place to live. We've got an incredible number of parks here. And we need to, continue to improve upon those, the best we can, knowing that there's going to be some people that are going to be concerned, about, the changes to the park, there may be something they already like, although there's a lot of talk about, like the sidewalks and things, or the walking paths, don't make the full, I'll call it circle, although it may not be, or loop is a better word. Making sure we do those kind of improvements, making sure that we have accessibility for everyone that, different activities. So I think those are things we definitely need to do. As far as attending meetings, it's been more city council meetings by Zoom. I have attended some of the park and rec meetings.
You have or you have not?
I have attended some.
You have.
It'd be a handful. Yes.
Just an FYI,
Yes.
I am a Delta Gamma.
Oh, okay. I
Sure.
shouldn't ask that you volunteer there.
I do
You
not.
should. It's a great organization.
I'll
Not
put-
that-
I'll put that hat on the rack too, and I can add it to my other hats. Just a follow-up question, if for some reason you were not chosen to be on this commission because there is one opening.
Mhm.
And the city, as you may or may not know, every Thanksgiving morning runs the turkey trot. We've been doing it, this will be our 8th year. The money that we raise is given to the food pantry
Mhm.
right on Bauer.
Mhm.
And that is a wonderful opportunity in a one-off situation. And sometimes it's not really one-off because more involved you get, you can be as involved in as you want, but it is a wonderful opportunity to give back to the community. It is probably the biggest event that the community does at any one time, and it does require a lot of volunteers. So is that something that you might be interested in or interested to know more about?
It is, and it's something that I haven't volunteered with in the past, but on the Delta Gamma side, actually, I've been moved to the unofficial race coordinator for the Run for Sight, which you may not heard of, but comparable, a different type of fundraiser. And so that is something that I've definitely thought about doing now that I've had more skills with that, and again, it takes a variety of skills to do an activity that large. But
Right,
yes,
okay.
When is that run?
it's in the spring. No, it's early May. This year's already done. And it was very strange to do at the tail end of COVID. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you too.
Are you okay standing up here? I'll move this, lower this for you. Last, Bill's a little bit taller than you. There you are. And then if you just use the microphone, that would help for.
Thank you. Hi.
Stephanie's gonna go next.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have a few questions for you. With many volunteer opportunities, why did you decide to be, or at least wanting to serve on the Parks Commission? And why now?
Well, I mean, it was an impulse decision for me. I've been using the parks a lot during the pandemic. My sister and I have been walking in Stacy Park every day. And I've noticed a lot of things and observed a lot of things, good and bad. And I'm familiar with the other parks. I don't use them as heavily, but I just thought maybe I could help out. I didn't really know what kind of credentials you're looking for, what kind of person, but I thought, well, I'll give it a try.
How long have you lived in Olivet?
8 years.
8 years. Okay. Lisa?
you. It's great. It's great.
Okay. What particular skills or talents, knowledge do you bring to the commission that will help it fulfill its mission?
Well, okay, I worked primarily in schools and then in art museums for about 40 years.
art museums are public service, public entities that serve the public and that need to maintain a certain standard and be aware of all the things that create an environment where people have a good time and are safe. And so I'm familiar with all of those. I'm also familiar with RFPs, building plans, and I can certainly process and prioritize information and, make sure that I'm having a good discussion with colleagues and trying to represent myself as a user of the parks.
Good evening, and thank you. There is an expectation that park commission members attend and assist with special events and special programs. Did you have a time to volunteer with these various activities?
I don't know what kind of time commitment or what time of day or week. It could be any time.
Well, typically activities from the community.
Like I know the events in the park, the turkey trot and, yeah,
Whatever events the park commission puts on.
yes, I have time to participate.
Turkey trot will be part of the park, or if it's something that the park board proposes a new event to have. Okay.
However, when does the park committee meet?
The third Wednesday of every month at 7:00 p.m.
Okay,
Well, is there something you want to tell us about that timeframe? Is that a
well,
problem
I would
for you?
have to, I would have to weigh it. I have another commitment at that time, and I really don't have very many commitments, but I do have another commitment at that time.
Okay.
So,
So the city is well underway in the implementation of our $15 million community center and park improvement plan. And I'm curious to know how familiar you are with those plans, and have you attended a meeting to hear about the plans, or have you gone online to review them and familiarize yourself?
I've been
with them?
online to review them, and I went to the meetings about the Greenway project.
Okay.
I also was involved in the move to sort of save Warson Park from being a skating rink kind of thing with my neighbors. That was my initiation to park system. But I wonder if I could tell you just a few things. One is I don't know, and perhaps this information was online and I missed it, but are they going to provide additional staff and funding for maintenance of these facilities? Or is there a plan for that? Because
Yes.
yes, because right now, what I see at Stacy Park, and I love Stacy Park because I've been there every day for a year and a half, is that sometimes the basics aren't maintained, but they're starting new things. And I kind of feel like the walking path, the fields, the pavilion, the playground with very squeaky swings, and the restrooms, that should all be first, and then do something else. But things like debris wasn't picked up for months and months, and it just seems like there isn't enough staff. There isn't enough. When I saw was there when they brought a machine to pick up all the gumballs and leaves that had been there all winter, and the machine didn't work. And so then they left, and I thought, they have enough funding to keep this up. Just observations.
Okay.
But I'm very grateful to whoever's working on the parks. It's meant a lot to me, and I thank you all for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Good Lord. I think everything in my self-control not to jump out of my skin. Yes, right. I know, I thank God for that. 'Cause you would have seen one.
Oh, it's okay. Hi,
Hi there.
I
Hi.
should start out saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview, because my understanding is that positions on the Parks Committee don't open up very often. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you here. There's a lot of different opportunities to volunteer in our city. What made you choose Parks Commission and why now?
That's a long answer, because I've lived in Olivet for like 30 years now, and the parks have always been really important for our whole family. And I just want to help maintain and preserve the parks. And why now? I retired, it's a year exactly. And so I've been helping out a lot with 4 different nonprofit groups. And to be honest, I've actually been helping out at doing activities in the park too. I've helped with, I've been coordinating activities with Jim Person and Beverly. And one of the, probably the main things that I'm doing is, I don't know, I'm getting the park certified as an urban dark sky place. And that's going to be a huge thing, because it's really the first, that's one of the groups I'm working with, is the Missouri chapter of International Dark Sky. And I saw Missouri and I thought Stacy Park will be great. And it's actually going to be the first real urban dark sky place. There's only 2 listed now, and one's in southern Utah and one's a wildlife refuge. So this is the real only urban one. And so it's definitely going to be the first in Missouri. I regard it as probably the first in the world. It is international. And so, we'll be on the website. So I've had to work a lot with Beverly and Jim Person on that. And I've been a weed warrior for over 3 years. I just joined Olivet and Bloom. I've written at least 1, maybe 2 articles for the Parks newsletter. And now I'm helping coordinate booths for the Party in the Park. So a friend of mine that I walk with once a week through Villa and Stacy Park told me about the opening. And I was like, oh, I should apply. So that's why now I have time, and the opening just became available.
I just, to be clear, so it isn't now, it was, you would have had this interest 6 months ago, but
Oh,
there was
yes.
no opening, right?
Right,
So,
yes. Yeah, like I said, I've been interested in the parks. Like I said, they've been important to my family because I have 3 kids. They all played Olivet soccer, I think softball in the park, and we've used all the parks. And we used to walk our dog. He guide through Stacy Park every day. I walk through Stacy Park and Villa at least once a week. My son got married out of town, and he had a wedding reception at Irv's Eye for the people that weren't able to attend his wedding out of town. And so, the parks have always been important. And because my son said, where can I have this? And I said, well, have it in one of the Olivet parks. It's a great place. So, yeah, I've always been interested in the parks and working with them and what's going on. It's just that, like you said, I would have done it earlier, but I didn't really have the time, and but I had the interest, and I've been a weed warrior for probably the last 3 years.
So my question was going to be about the skills and talents you bring to the job, but you seem to have already brought those skills and talents to the job. So I'm not going to ask that question.
Oh, well, I have more I can add. So I'm also a certified project manager.
Okay.
And what I've seen is most organizations can use a good project manager, to define the project, outline it, define all the details, when it has to be done, the critical path. So I can also help with that too.
All right, thank you.
As Councilmember Carl said, yeah, realistically, we could say, why are you interested and what's your skill set and knowledge, but you've clearly come here and presented that you're a volunteer without being acknowledged as a city volunteer.
I think you've had some things that I've come to.
So,
Yeah.
so given that you've asked, I'm going to ask you a different question.
Okay.
So I just heard you say that you're coordinating the booths with the parties in the park.
Yeah.
Who asked you to do that?
Nobody. There's a lot of organizations I work with. And so I called up Beverly and I said, hey, can they have booths? And she's like, yes, that'd be a fantastic idea. So then I started asking around more. So the people I've got is the Missouri chapter of the Dark Sky to promote, that Olivet's Stacy is soon going to be certified. I'm having the Audubon Society come to present Lights Out Heartland, which is starting in September. They want everybody to turn off their lights, so that's perfect timing for them. The Missouri Wildlife Rescue Center, and if you remember in the newsletter about the fox that had mange, so I was the one that caught the fox, and Beverly wanted to put my name in it. I was like, no, don't put my name. I don't want. Just don't. So I was the one that caught the fox. So they're going to have a booth. So people know, if you find a sick or injured animal, who to call. And I've also contacted Jean Ponzi for the Botanical Gardens. She does Earthways. And so they answer all questions. If people have any questions at all about plants and stuff. I don't think she's going to be able to have a booth because they still have a lot of COVID restrictions.
So in other words, the answer to the question really is, you were not asked, you again volunteered.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sorry to babble.
So my question is probably very redundant because you seem very knowledgeable about what is going on here and all of that, but you are aware that we're doing a $16 million community center and park improvements project. It is the centerpiece for the Parks Commission. I mean, they have been working on it for a very long time, and it's coming to the point in which it will be very much reality as we start to put out bids and things like that for not only the community center, but the improvements themselves. So have you had an opportunity to familiarize yourself with the planned improvements, whether they be through attending our meetings or online? And if so, what do you think? And do you think that you'll be able to work within the framework that has been pretty much established now as to move forward?
Yes, so I've looked a little bit of the plans and yeah, I mean, I agree with it. And it's not for me to say. So, because we need a new community center, we voted on it. So, but what I have made input early on was that the lights, especially even in the parking lot, that they be the non-polluting lights so that they face down and so they don't, harm insects and the migrating birds and things like that. So that's the only input I've made. And I've even asked, and I have asked, if it would be worth to talk to the architects about the non-polluting light, but it seems like all the architects nowadays know that and they automatically will do that. But that's the input I've made to the community center to have the non-polluting lights, because actually we're looking to certify the remaining 4 Olivet parks also as urban night sky places.
All right.
But I'll go ahead and follow it, because I think it's obvious, but I'm gonna ask anyone this time. Have you attended any park board meetings and listened to any of the park board meetings within the last year?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I'm gonna be leaving on vacation.
Well, we'll hurry up then. and get the decision. I'm just teasing, I'm just teasing.
I think we're voting
What's Maxine's back?
next week.
I think maybe next Tuesday we vote, which
Yeah.
makes it official, so.
Probably won't be known until next week. Well, I'm not sure what next week's schedule is.
Enjoy your travels.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Mhm.
Stay healthy.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
And parks are great.
Mhm.
And- Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
oh my God. And not good. Oh.
Well, hold on, baby, who's this?
That's Joy.
Joy, that is Joy. Okay.
Hi,
Hey,
Joy.
How are ya?
It's joy to see Joy.
So
She
Robin's
makes the
not
world
supposed to
go
be
round.
on until 7:20, so
Oh.
it may be a bit.
So.
So. Joy Howard, Joy, we have one more interview, but you can come forward and just chit chat with. See people who,
It is good to see you.
This is the last time, yeah.
I don't even know when did we see Joy? When did we see you last? Like in person?
Oh.
We were sitting in a small conference room. Yeah.
Mayor, Sydney, you've never met Joy, have you?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, he's in his fourth year, he got you.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Nice to meet you again.
So Darren's gonna be coming in, he'll be in anytime shortly too, so that he and Joy can talk to you about the refinancing, refunding. That, I'll just keep watching for Robin. And trying to think if there's,
Are we recording or are you on pause?
no, we're recording.
Okay.
If I pause it, I will forget to turn it. I'll stop the recording once the interviews are done. What else?
Is anybody there?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So she's gonna hear this voice coming out the chandelier.
Oh,
Is
no.
anybody there?
You chirping, man, you chirping.
Anybody there? She'll be calling this train.
We get rid of that thing. Let's get
Oh,
it
I know.
talking.
The work session in September. Oh, Robin's on. But remember, work session, the September work session, we talked about, because it's, for.
it's Yom Kippur.
So I'm gonna ask for the work session, to be moved to the 31st
Oh,
August. That's a fifth Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Does that work for folks?
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I have to.
Okay, I can send an email out. And the reason I want to have the work session is we have a couple things to talk about. We also may have it as a regular meeting because we may have the information for the general contractor for the parks. And we'd like to, if we don't do it on the 31st, we kind of lose a couple weeks. And since we've already lost a couple weeks, we have to rebid. So, okay, Robin.
It will work for me, Barb.
Robin is on. I'm going to promote her to panelist. Oh, and I need to turn on. Not yet. Robin, we have one more interview, and this will take about 10 minutes. Okay? You're all good. Oh. Let me turn screening.
Muted.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This
Hi,
is a
Robin.
public meeting.
Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, Robin? You're on mute.
Got it.
There you go.
Okay. I apologize. I'm using someone else's computers and I'm not familiar with it.
Thank you so much. So I'm just gonna zoom. us
Hopefully
in.
you can hear me. It's very loud here.
Yeah. No, we don't notice that. I'm gonna actually. Right, well, thank you again, and I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Clark. The council has just a few questions for you, and so I'll let Mayor kick it off.
Wonderful.
Thank you for joining us. As you can see, I have my last name for your protection. There are many volunteer opportunities here in the city of Olivet. What made you choose the Parks Commission and why now?
Well, I recently moved into Olivet and I also recently retired after a 20-year teaching slot and in the Kirkwood School District. I was a physical educator for 20 years with Kirkwood. And I saw this as an opportunity to get involved in my community. And it also is a passion of mine, working in recreation. And I just thought it would be a really great fit and a way to get involved in Olivet. I am also a Ladue grad from many years ago. And so I look forward to sort of working in a school district that gave me a huge head start and pushed me in a positive direction. And I look forward to hopefully working with kids again. I enjoy being retired, but I also miss the interaction I had with kids and working in recreation.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Maybe you could expound on it a little bit because, you know, obviously you've worked with kids as a PE teacher, so you're somewhat in the field a bit, but what knowledge and talents and skills overall do you think you bring to the commission to help it fulfill its mission?
Well, I have a lot of skills as far as creativity. I do a lot of planning just because I worked with 500 children today. I also involved myself a lot in working on an outdoor play space. So I worked on that for about 5 years before we even created it at our school. So I did a lot of working with the public, putting together plans to create this play space. So I've been involved with landscape architects. I've been involved with that type of work, which I enjoyed. Just sort of looking at things outside the box. How do I involve our children that are have certain gross motor abilities that are different than others? So we didn't want to create the regular playground where not every child could interact with others. So we really tried to not create a space with playground equipment per se, because a lot of times that playground equipment has these really long ramps and we were limited with our space. So we ended up doing a lot of different types of outdoor space that involved thinking outside the box. And it was kind of fun working with different people from different avenues, like landscape architects and engineers and things like that, that really pushed me outside my thinking skills too.
Okay. And just an aside, I'm just a little curious. You said you went to the Ladue School District, but you called yourself a new resident. So what brought you back? I'm just curious.
Well, my husband is a longtime Olivet resident. We somehow ended up in Clayton for 25 years, but this is where we chose to retire. We wanted to live in a community like Olivet, be close to the highways and close to what we had in Clayton, but a much more comfortable community. And that's, my husband really enjoyed his years in Olivet. And I had never lived in Olivet, but thought of it very fondly. And there's just the diversity, the closeness to Clayton, the closeness to being able to walk places, and the parks. I will tell you that the parks was a big part of why I wanted to move into Olivet. Just seeing how many parks you had, and being close to the bike paths and things like that, the walkability. But I will tell you that having lived in Clayton for 25 years, I missed the diversity that Olivet has.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, and thank you for that recognition of the diversity of this wonderful city we call Olivet. Okay, I'm a 74 grad of Ladue. Are you going to tell me what year you graduated from Ladue?
76.
Oh, then we should have known each other. Maybe I knew your brother.
Well, you probably knew my husband because he was 75.
So there is an expectation that park commission members attend and assist with special events and programs. And the park board meets on the third Wednesday of every month at 7:00 p.m. Would you be able to attend those park commission meetings? And would you be able to assist and be a part of physically being involved with special events and programs?
I certainly will. I look forward to those type of special events. I did a lot of those as a teacher and as a physical educator.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilmember Stringer will follow with some other additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's hard to know who's speaking, so I'll raise my hand. Good evening. The city is, as you may well know, is well underway with the implementation of our $16 million bond. And tell me again, when did you move into Olivet again?
Late 18.
Okay, so you were here when we put this bond issue up to the voting public. That was June of 2020. We were 4 months or so into the pandemic, and nobody was more surprised than us that the residents said yes to a bond issue in the middle of a pandemic. But they did, and we thank them every day for that, because it is going to allow us now to be able to build a new community center and do improvements to the parks. And as nice as they are going to be even nicer than they are now. How familiar would you say you are with our planned improvements? Have you attended any of the meetings running up to the bond issue or since the bond issue, or have you gone online to look at our plan? And what do you think?
I will have to admit that I have not gotten involved as far as, I certainly voted for the raise and the bond issue, but I have not had a chance to attend any meetings yet. I just recently stopped working. And I'm not that familiar with what you are doing. I keep up with what's happening with the trailways and moving towards the north and connecting with the Grandview space. I've heard rumors about what's going on in the Grandview space and things like that, but I'm not that familiar with what you all are planning to do.
Okay, thank you.
I. You're not gonna follow up?
Well, I could ask the question about turkey trot. So if there is only one opening on this commission at the present time,
Mhm.
but the city does have a lot of opportunities to get involved, whether they be single events or just volunteer, in a volunteer sort of way. That doesn't include, having to be on a park commission or, that kind of a commitment. And one of those is the turkey trot. I don't know if you're familiar with turkey trot. It is a turkey trot. We run a 5K walk, run walk every Thanksgiving morning, and it starts in Stacy Park. It goes down Old Bonham to Price and around Price to Villa, up Villa, cuts back through Hillendale, and then up the bike path back to Stacy Park. And it is, the last time we actually physically ran it, there were over 1,600 people. It is the largest event that the city does every year, and they're always looking for people to help because it is a very intense volunteer situation to be able to pull all that together, whether it be the day of or several days before or even months before. I mean, the committee starts to plan this event probably 2 months, not even 2 months after we finish the event. So if you were not able to sit on the Parks Commission, would you have any interest in that? And I'd be happy to, if that were the case, happy to put you together with those people.
I actually did help out in 19. We worked up there, and I was volunteering for a Jewish Family Service. So I kind of played 2 roles there. I helped with collecting the food, and I also did help with the turkey trot.
Oh, great. Well,
So,
thank you. I appreciate that. It is a great event.
and it was very cold that day.
And we are looking to do 2,000 people this year. That is our goal, 2,000 people to raise more money.
That's awesome.
Yep, it's gonna be great. I forgot in your resume, I remember that you volunteer at the food pantry, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I forgot that. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are so thankful that you took time to talk with us. We got to process all the information that we got gathered today, and we will be in touch with you. And again, thank you for your interest.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.